Hello and welcome back to Funeral Industry Insights. This is the podcast where we talk about one of life's toughest moments, which is death. Okay. My name's Michelle Dwyer and I'm here today specifically to talk to you about navigating through grief. Okay. Now, first up, I am not a grief counsellor in any way. Any information I provide today or thoughts today are my personal thoughts, and any websites and things like that I provide today, they're just provided because I know of people that have used those services. In no way has anybody asked me to name any particular sites or anything like that. I am a funeral director. My husband and I own a funeral home, Dwyer Family Funerals in New South Wales. And so the advice, I suppose, and that my thoughts and that today that I'm going to share is just what I've seen in my time in the industry. I started in the industry in 1995. So, as I mentioned, I'm not a grief counsellor in any way, shape or form, but I have seen grief in various forms. So what I'm going to do today is just focus really on support that you can get out there. Okay, so that's one of my main reasons for doing this particular podcast. And the other reason is I just want people to have hope that they know that this isn't forever. Okay, as in how they're feeling right at this specific moment isn't forever. Okay, and just helping them in some way, hopefully heal. Okay, so if you or someone you love is struggling with loss, I think for me the first thing I really want to point out is that you are not alone. I know at times you feel like you're alone. Even if you're a wife that's lost your husband and you've got children and, you're navigating through this together, there's moments where you're in your bedroom of a night time and the kids are in bed asleep and, you are feeling like, you're the only person there, or, your kids are laughing and carrying on and, you're sitting there thinking, well, how can they? Like I'm dying inside sort of thing, So, but I just want you to know you are not alone because there are so many people out there, friends, family, all of those sorts of things. There's organisations, there's, so many different various places where you can turn to for help. So the other thing is just to remember that grief's not a destination, it's a journey, okay? Now, I know a lot of people sort of, especially people that are going through grief right at this point in time, they feel that there's no way out. They feel that this is it. Okay. So, and that's why I'm hoping to share a little bit with you today and to share, as I said, those organisations and things like that, because I want you to know that there are people and communities ready to walk alongside this journey with you. But when the time does get too tough for you, that there are places that you can reach out to. Okay. Firstly, I want to just say though, just in understanding grief. Okay. So grief isn't just sadness. Okay. It's like, it's an extremely complex emotional response to loss. Okay. So, but like that loss can be, as we're talking about in this instance, a loved one, but it could also be like losing a job, a pet, or, even a previous version of how your life used to be. But grief shows in so many forms. Okay. Now, before I was mentioning, where someone might be crying or alone in their bedroom, and tears and things like that, and sadness, as in that general sad feeling. That's when a lot of people from outside can see that someone's grieving. Okay. But there's other forms that people don't necessarily realize that that's a form of someone grieving. And that can just be like things such as anger or guilt or confusion. Like, you feel like someone's, not with it as such. And look, sometimes relief as well. Like, when someone passes away and it's been an extremely tough journey in their final days, weeks, months, and sometimes even years, there can be an element of relief on their family's part too. And that can really trigger grief. Okay. So, but every experience of grief is unique, and there's no right or wrong way to grieve. Okay. And that's really important to understand, is there is no right way to grieve. How you think somebody should be grieving is not your business. Okay. And one important thing to remember is that, as I said before, you do not have to go through this alone. Okay. Look, as I said, you sit down, talk about it with a friend or family or counsellor or a support group. I know some people that have found it quite liberating, actually, to keep a journal, like keep a diary. I have one friend who lost a husband, and she diarised everything, and then she went back and had a look, a couple of months later, just to see how far she'd come. Now, you may never do that. You may never open it up again, but you might actually find it helpful to sort of, put those thoughts and emotions on paper. There's people out there that they prefer to do sort of exercise or, go to the gym, or it could be just even a simple short walk, just to reduce that emotional tension. Okay. Other people do it in forms of like lighting a candle, planting a tree, or, anything like that. But allow yourself to feel the emotion. Okay. Don't rush to just get over it. It's not something that's predictable. There's no time frame. Okay. But if the pain feels too heavy, as I mentioned earlier, there are professional support services that can help. Now, I know it's extremely hard to put your hand up sometimes and ask for help. I'm not a person that does it. And, but you've got to recognize when the time comes and you do need some outside assistance. Okay. And I'm going to mention just a few amazing organisations that we've got here in Australia, and some of them are specifically just New South Wales based, but I'm going to mention them now on places where you can reach out to. Okay. Firstly, I'm going to mention a place called Grief Line. Okay. Now, there's a national free phone support service. Okay. Now that phone number is 1300 845 745. They've also got a website, which is griefline.org.au. They've got some online forums and some great grief education resources there too. So I've jumped on, I've had a look, I've downloaded some, I've handed them out to some of my family. So they're fantastic. Okay. Another one is the National Association for Loss and Grief. Look, they're based in Dubbo in New South Wales. Their services do extend right across New South Wales. Okay. Their website is nalag.org.au. But they also offer telephone grief support as well. But they've got some community programs and workshops that are across New South Wales too. They're really good. They're great. They've actually, some of their workshops are absolutely fantastic. So again, have a look. And it's great to know that, sometimes it's knowing that you're not the only person going through it as well. There's Lifeline Australia too. Now, Lifeline Australia, they, obviously they're crisis support and they offer trained counsellors, but they also do, grief counselling too. Okay. So their phone number is 131114 and their website is lifeline.org.au. I know of a few families that have done some grief support programs through Lifeline, and I know one particular family where they loved the fact that by doing that program, I think it went for 6 weeks, I can't remember offhand, but they met people similar going through the same sort of thing, and they've remained friends with those people now, and for assistance and help as well. So that's sort of really good too. So and then you've got Beyond Blue as well. Now Beyond Blue is 24/7, so much like Lifeline Australia. Okay. Now, Beyond Blue does support for mental health concerns, but that also includes your grief and loss. Okay, so their website is beyondblue.org.au and their phone number is 1300 224 636. And look, in New South Wales too, we have another place called the Bereavement Care Centre. Now, they're based in Sydney, but they offer specialist grief counselling for individuals, couples, families. Look, and a lot of the others do families and things like that too. But again, great resources here too. Okay, so that's bereavementcare.com.au. Okay. So as I mentioned, they're just a few that I know that families have actually contacted and have got something out of those. Okay. There's obviously there's probably many other ones, out there. I know the Catholic cemeteries, they have a grief care as well. If you Google quite a few others, it would just come down to what you feel comfortable or who you feel comfortable talking to as well. But as I mentioned, the main reason I mention those ones is because I know of specific families where they've got something out of those particular organisations. So if you are listening today and look, you're feeling lost, please hear me when I say that grief is not something that you just fix. Okay. It's not a problem to solve. It's something that you have to move through, breath by breath, hour by hour, day by day. Now the way you move through it, well, that's deeply personal. Okay. And as I said before, there's no two people are going to be the same. There's no roadmap. There's no schedule, but there's no right way. Okay. Some days you might feel okay. Other days you might think that you can't even get out of bed. You might struggle to get out of bed. There might be days where you just don't get out of bed, but that's okay. You're doing your best, remember, and right now your best is enough. You're allowed to break down. You're allowed to fall apart. You're allowed to cry, to feel like you don't have the answers. You're allowed to rebuild too, piece by piece, in your own time. Healing doesn't mean that you forget your loved one. It means that you've just learnt how to live with the love and the loss together. Okay, but you don't have to carry this on your own. Reach out to a friend, a support group, a counsellor, or even one of those strangers on one of those helplines that I've just mentioned before. Talk, cry, breathe. And if words are hard, just sit with someone in silence. Let them be there with you and for you. There is strength in asking for help. There's courage in saying, hey, I'm not okay. And you know what? There's hope. Even when you can't feel it yet, there's always hope. So take one small step today, whatever that step looks like. And just remember, you're not alone in this. Before I wrap up, I just want to leave you with a quote that Queen Elizabeth II said after her husband passed away, and that is that grief is the price that we pay for love. You know, it hurts because it mattered. And healing is possible. It just takes time. So if you found this episode helpful today, then look, please consider sharing it with someone who you think might need it, because you never know who's struggling silently. But thank you so much for tuning into Funeral Industry Insights. And don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts. But until next time, I'm Michelle Dwyer, helping you navigate through life's final chapters with clarity and compassion. Thank you.